Hey guys, good morning. Now the today's morning time is 6:10 and this video I am creating for you for your knowledge to improve your knowledge about the Customs Act 1962 and the customs clearance of import or export goods. So guys, in this video we are going to see the chapter number 6. Provisions relating to conveyance carrying imported and exported goods. So in the same section number 29 is arrival of vessels and aircraft in India. Section 29 is arrival of vessels and aircraft in India. So in the same section there is subsection 1, the person in charge of a vessel or an aircraft entering any India from any place outside India shall not cause or permit the vessel or aircraft to call or land. Clause A, for the first time after arrival in India, or Clause B, at any time while it is carrying passengers or cargo brought in that vessel or aircraft at any place other than a customs port or a customs airport, as the case may be, unless permitted by the board. Subsection 2. The provisions of subsection 1 shall not apply in relation to any vessel or aircraft which is compelled by accident, stress of weather or other unavoidable cause to call or land at a place other than a customs port, customs airport, but the person in charge of any vessel or aircraft. Clause A, shall immediately report the arrival of the vessel or the landing of the aircraft to the nearest customs officer or the officer in charge of a police station, and shall on demand produce to him a logbook belonging to the vessel or the aircraft. Clause B, shall not without the consent of any such officer permit any goods carried in the vessel or the aircraft to be unloaded from, or any of the crew or passenger to depart from the vicinity of the vessel or the aircraft. And clause C, shall comply with any directions given by any such officer with respect to any such goods, and no passenger or member of the crew shall, without the consent of any such officer, leave the immediate vicinity of the vessel or the aircraft. Provided that nothing in this section shall prohibit the departure of any crew or passengers from the vicinity of or the removal of the goods from the vessel or aircraft where the departure or removal is necessary for reasons of health, safety, or the preservation of life or property. So section number 29 is arrival of vessels and aircraft in India. Section number 30 is delivery of arrival manifest, import manifest, or import report. Section 30 is delivery of arrival manifest, import manifest, or import report. Subsection 1, the person in charge of clause A, clause 1, a vessel, clause 2nd, an aircraft, clause 3rd, a vehicle carrying imported goods or export goods, or any other person as may be specified by the central government by notification in the official gazette. In this behalf shall, in the case of a vessel or an aircraft, deliver to the proper officer an arrival manifest or import manifest by presenting electronically prior to the arrival of the vessel or the aircraft as the case may be, and in the case of a vehicle or import report within 12 hours after its arrival in the customs station, in such form and manner as may be prescribed, and if the arrival manifest, import manifest, or the import report or any part thereof is not delivered to the proper officer within the time specified in this subsection, and if a proper officer is satisfied that there was no sufficient cause for such delay, the person in charge or any other person referred to in this subsection who accused such delay shall be liable to a penalty not exceeding 50,000 rupees. So here is mentioned penalty was 50,000 rupees for contravention of any provision of this act. provided that the Principal Commissioner of Customs or Commissioner of Customs may, in cases where it is not feasible to deliver arrival manifest or import manifest by presenting electronically, allow the same to be delivered in any other manner. Subsection 2. The person delivering the arrival manifest, import manifest or import report shall at the foot thereof make and subscribe to a declaration as to the truth of its contents. Subsection 3. If the proper officer is satisfied that the arrival manifest, import manifest or import report is any way incorrect or incomplete and that there was no fraudulent intention, he may permit it to be amended or supplemented. Now the section number 30, A, passion. Section 30, delivery of arrival manifest, import manifest or import report. So we have seen two sections. Section 29, arrival of vessels, aircraft in India. Section 30, delivery of arrival manifest or import manifest or import report. Section number 30A, passenger and crew. Section 30A, passenger and crew arrival manifest and passenger name record information. Section 30A, passenger and crew arrival manifest and passenger name record information. Subsection 1. The person in charge of a conveyance that enters India from any place outside India or any other person as may be specified by the central government by notification in the official gazette shall deliver to the proper officer, subclause 1st, the passenger and crew arrival manifest before arrival in case of an aircraft or a vessel and upon arrival in the case of a vehicle, and subclause 2nd, the passenger name record information of arriving passengers in such form containing such particulars in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed. Subsection 2. Where the passenger and crew arrival manifest or the passenger name record information or any part thereof is not delivered to the proper officer within the prescribed time, and if the proper officer is satisfied that there was no sufficient cause for such delay, the person in charge of or other the person referred to in subsection 1 shall be liable to such penalty not exceeding 50,000 rupees as may be prescribed. So here is also given, if any person contravenes the provisions of this act, he may be fined or penalty up to 50,000 rupees. So section 30A, passenger and crew arrival manifest and passenger name record information. This was the third section in this chapter 6, provisions relating to conveyances carrying imported or exported goods. We have seen section 29, arrival of vessels or aircraft in India. Section 30, delivery of arrival manifest or import report. Section 30, a passenger and crew arrival manifest and passenger name record information. Section 31, imported goods not to be unloaded from vessel until entry inwards granted. Section 31, imported goods not to be unloaded from vessel until entry inwards granted. Section 31, imported goods not to be allowed to be unloaded from vessel until entry inwards granted. In the same, subsection 1 is the master of a vessel shall not permit the unloading of any imported goods until an order has been given by the proper officer granting entry inwards to such vessel. Subsection 2. No order under subsection 1 shall be given until an arrival manifest or import manifest has been delivered or the proper officer is satisfied that there was sufficient cause for not delivering it. Subsection 3. Nothing in this section shall apply to the unloading of baggage accompanying a passenger or a member of the crew, mail bags, animals, perishable goods and hazardous goods. So, the baggage which are accompanying with passenger or member of the crew, mail bags, animals, perishable goods and hazardous goods. This section provisions is not applicable for all these items. So section 31, imported goods not to be unloaded from vessel until entry inwards granted. Section 32, imported goods not to be unloaded unless mentioned in arrival manifest or import manifest or import report. Imported goods not to be unloaded. Section 32, imported goods not to be unloaded unless mentioned in arrival manifest, import manifest or import report. In the same, no imported goods required to be mentioned under the regulations in an arrival manifest, import manifest or import report shall, except with the permission of the proper officer, be unloaded at any custom station unless they are specified in such manifest or report for being unloaded at that custom station. So section 32, imported goods not to be unloaded unless mentioned in arrival manifest, import manifest or import report. Section 33, unloading and loading of goods at approved places only. Section 33, unloading and loading of goods at approved places only, except with the permission of the proper officer. No imported goods shall be unloaded and no export goods shall be loaded at any place other than a place approved under clause A of section 8 for the unloading or loading of such goods. So section 33 is unloading and loading of goods at approved places only. Section 34, goods not to be unloaded or loaded except under supervision of customs officer. Section 34 is goods not to be unloaded or loaded except under supervision of customs officer. Imported goods shall not be unloaded from or export goods shall not be loaded on any conveyance except under the supervision of the proper officer, provided that the board may, by notification in the official gazette, give general permission and the proper officer may, in any particular case, give special permission for any goods or class of goods to be unloaded or loaded without the supervision of the proper officer. Section 35, restrictions on goods being waterborne. Section 35, restrictions on goods being waterborne. No imported goods shall be waterborne for being landed from any vessel, and no export goods which are not accompanied by a shipping bill shall be waterborne for being shipped unless the goods are accompanied by a boat note in the prescribed form, provided that the board may, by notification in the official gazette, give general permission and the proper officer may, in any particular case, give special permission for any goods or class of goods to be waterborne without being accompanied by a boat note. So section 35 is restrictions on goods being waterborne. Section 36 is restrictions on unloading and loading of goods on holidays, etc. Section 36 is restrictions on unloading and loading of goods on holidays, etc. Section 36 is restrictions on unloading and loading of goods on holidays, etc. No imported goods shall be unloaded from, and no export goods shall be loaded on any conveyance or on any Sunday, on any holiday observed by the Customs Department, or any other day after the working hours, except after giving the prescribed notice and on payment of the prescribed fees, if any, provided that no fees shall be levied for the unloading and loading of baggage accompanying a passenger or a member of the crew and mailbags. Section 37 is power to board conveyances. Section 37 is power to board conveyances. The proper officer may at any time board any conveyance carrying imported goods or export goods, and may remain on such conveyance for such period as he considers necessary. Section 37, power to board conveyances. The proper officer may at any time board any conveyance carrying imported goods or export goods, and may remain on such conveyance for such period as he considers necessary. Section 38, power to require production of documents and ask questions. Section 38, power to require production of documents and ask questions. So Section 38, once again I am repeating, Section 38, power to require production of documents and ask questions. For the purposes of carrying out the provisions of this Act, the proper officer may require the person in charge of any conveyance or animal carrying imported goods or export goods to produce any document and to answer any questions, and thereupon such person shall produce such documents and answer such questions. Section 39, export goods not to be loaded on vessel until entry outwards granted. Section 39, export goods not to be loaded on vessel until entry outwards granted. The master of a vessel shall not permit the loading of any export goods other than baggage and mailbags until an order has been given by the proper officer granting entry outwards to such vessel. Section 39, export goods not to be loaded on vessel until entry outwards granted. Section 40, export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. Section 40, export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. The person in charge of a conveyance shall not permit the loading at a customs station, Clause A, of export goods other than baggage and mailbags unless a shipping bill or bill of export or bill of transshipment, as the case may be, duly passed by the proper officer has been handed over to him by the exporter. Clause B, of baggage and mailbags unless their export has been duly permitted by the proper officer. Section 40, export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. Section 40, export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. Section 41, delivery of a departure manifest or export manifest or export report. Section 41, delivery of departure manifest, export manifest or export report. Subsection 1, the person in charge of a conveyance carrying export goods or imported goods or any other person as may be specified by the central government by notification shall, before departure of the conveyance from a customs station, deliver to the proper officer, in the case of an vessel or aircraft, a departure manifest or export manifest by presenting electronically, and in the case of a vehicle, an export report in such form and manner as may be prescribed, and in case such person in charge or other person fails to deliver the departure manifest or export manifest or the export report or any part thereof within such time, and the proper officer is satisfied that there is no sufficient cause for such delay, such person in charge or other person shall be liable to pay penalty not exceeding 50,000 rupees, provided that the principal commissioner of customs or commissioner of customs may, in cases where it is not feasible to deliver the departure manifest or export manifest by presenting electronically, allow the same to be delivered in any other manner. Subsection 2. The person delivering the departure manifest, export manifest or export report shall at the foot thereof make and subscribe to a declaration as to the truth of its contents. Subsection 3. If the proper officer is satisfied that the departure manifest, export manifest or export report is anyway incorrect or incomplete and that there was no fraudulent intention, he may permit such manifest or report to be amended or supplemented. So section number 41 is delivery of departure manifest or export manifest or export report. Section 41A, passenger and crew departure manifest and passenger name record information. Section 41A, passenger and crew departure manifest and passenger name record information. Subsection 1. The person in charge of a conveyance that departs from India to a place outside India or any other person as may be specified by the central government by notification in the official gazette shall deliver to the proper officer. Clause 1. The passenger and crew departure manifest. Clause 2. The passenger name record information of departing passengers in such form containing such particulars in such manner and within such time as may be prescribed. Subsection 2. Where the passenger and crew departure manifest or the passenger name record information or any part thereof is not delivered to the proper officer within the prescribed time and if the proper officer is satisfied that there was no sufficient cause for such delay, the person in charge or the other person referred to in subsection 1 shall be liable to such penalty not exceeding 50,000 rupees as may be prescribed. So section 41A is passenger and crew departure manifest and passenger name record information. Section 42, no conveyance to leave without written order. Section 42, no conveyance to leave without written order. Section 42, no conveyance to leave without written order. Subsection 1. The person in charge of a conveyance which has brought any imported goods or has loaded in any export goods at a custom station shall not cause or permit the conveyance to depart from that custom station until a written order to that effect has been given by the proper officer. Subsection 2. No such order shall be given until Clause A. The person in charge of the conveyance has answered the questions put to him under section 1, section 38. Clause B. The provisions of section 41 have been complied with. Clause C. The shipping bill or bill of export or the bills of transshipment, if any, and such other documents as the proper officer may require have been delivered to him. Clause A. All duties leviable, stores consumed in such conveyance, and all charges and penalties due in respect of such conveyance or from the person in charge thereof have been paid, or the payment secured by such guarantee or deposit of such a amount as the proper officer may direct. Clause E. The person in charge of conveyance has satisfied the proper officer that no penalty is leviable on him under section 116 or the payment of any penalty that may be levied upon him under that section has been secured by such guarantee or deposit of such amount as the proper officer may direct. Clause F. In any case wherein any export goods have been loaded without the payment of export duty or in contravention of any provisions of this act or any other law for the time being in force relating to export of goods. Subclause first, such goods have been unloaded, or subclause second, where the Assistant Commissioner of Customs or Deputy Commissioner of Customs is satisfied that it is not practicable to unload such goods, the person in charge of a conveyance has given an undertaking secured by such guarantee or deposit of such amount as the proper officer may direct for bringing back the goods to India. Section 42 is no conveyance to leave without return order. Section 42 is no conveyance to leave without return order. Section 43, exemption of certain classes of conveyances from certain provisions of this chapter. So section 43 is exemption of certain classes of conveyances from certain provision of this chapter. In the same Subsection 1. The provisions of Section 30, Section 41 and 42 shall not apply to a vehicle which carries no goods other than the luggage of its occupants. Subsection 2. The central government may, by notification in the official gazette, exempt the following classes of conveyances from all or any of the provision of this chapter. Clause A. Conveyances belonging to government or any foreign government. Clause B. Vessels and aircraft which temporarily enter India by reason of any emergency. So section 43 is exemption of certain classes of conveyances from certain provisions of this chapter. So guys, in the chapter number 6, provisions relating to conveyances carrying imported goods and exported goods, we have seen all the section from section number 29 to section number 43. Section 29 is of arrival of vessels and aircraft in India. Section 30 Section 30 is delivery of import manifest, arrival manifest or import report. Section 30A is passenger and crew arrival manifest and passenger name record information. Section 31 is imported goods not to be unloaded until entry inwards granted. Section 32. Imported goods not to be unloaded unless mentioned in import manifest, arrival manifest or import report. Section 33. Unloading and loading of goods at approved places only. Section 34. Goods not to be unloaded or loaded except under supervision of proper officer. Section 35. Restrictions on goods being waterborne. Section 36. Restrictions and on unloading and loading of goods on holidays, etc. Section 37. Power to board conveyances. Section 37. Power to board conveyances. Section 38. Power to require production of documents and ask questions. Section 38. Power to require production of documents and ask questions. Section 39. Export goods not to be loaded on vessel until entry outwards granted. Section 39. Export goods not to be loaded on vessel until entry outwards granted. Section 40. Export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. Section 40. Export goods not to be loaded unless duly passed by proper officer. Section 41. Delivery of departure manifest, export manifest or export report. Section 41A. Passenger and crew departure manifest and passenger name record information. Section 42. No conveyance to leave without return order. Section 43. Exemption of certain classes of conveyances to certain provisions of this chapter. So that's it in this video. We'll meet again in the next video with another section and another chapter. Till then, bye bye and take care.